Aloha and welcome to my Q&A session for Empower Your Dreams for my business Prosperity Pastures. And so I'm just going to go through a few of the questions here and answer them accordingly. And so first, most people do not just invest in the great idea but into the personality, character and motivation of the actual person who has the vision behind the idea. So what sets me apart along those lines more than anyone else? And so a little bit of my background has actually served 2-year mission in the Philippines, and so when I was there, this is the main thing that has impacted a lot of my projects since then and while being here at BYU. But the main issue I found there was poverty. And so I know everyone's experienced poverty in their life, but I feel like in the Philippines it's on a much severe scale, and so even to the point where families struggle to feed their children, and the parents really struggle just with making ends meet on a daily basis. And so that's really the motivation behind this idea. After leaving the mission field and coming to BYU almost 4 years ago now, I was so lucky to be able to be introduced to the entrepreneurship program where I found Enactus, and I found that there was actually groups of people doing these projects to have a social impact on the world. And so that is really where this idea started, a business idea, and the vision behind it started. And so in the beginning, it actually started as Pigs for Prosperity, and through some of our trials and a few failures, I was able to learn some really great lessons about how to create a business that really can help the people. And one of them being that it really needs to start making money as soon as possible. And so with my previous Pigs for Prosperity project, we aimed at helping families raise livestock, and then eventually they'd sell them to make some extra income on the side. But the delay on making the income was a long period because the pigs had months to grow, and so that was the biggest problem. And I found that these families weren't able to last as long, and the costs for maintenance of just feeds and other things for the pigs was so much more expensive. And so we luckily were able to pivot to goats, and that's what we're aiming to do this time. Start the business side first, and then we'll be able to turn around and help the families become self-reliant. And of course, when we aim to expand, we want to create cooperatives and involve more families in the community, and not just providing jobs as well, and selling a product that is cheaper. And so what have I done so far to prove that my business will succeed? Be specific. And so a lot of it relates to my previous project, Pigs for Prosperity, and the lessons that I learned from there. And so just as I mentioned earlier, I realized that one main problem is I need to make money as soon as possible to be able to help people and have a greater impact on the community. And lucky for us, we already have the area in Ormoc, or the barangay Katmon in Ormoc, that has been given to us by our main contact, Brother Emin over there, who I've been working with for years now. And he gave us a part of his land for free, and we sent money over and we got a fence built around so the goats could roam. We also purchased 14 goats at the time. And we also built a house for them so they have somewhere to get out of the rain and not get sick. And so that is what we have right now, and that is going to really prove or give us success in the next phase, which is really producing the milk, continuing to breed goats, and selling the product. That is really the main things that we have right now. And of course, we want to start paying people as soon as possible, because the families that have been helping us have been doing it just out of love and for the want of their own people to succeed. And so the next thing is, of course, to hire full-time staff. And so that's part of the few next steps that we need to take this business successful. One being hire full-time staff, either 1 or 2 people, just to full-time manage and look after the goats, gather their food, make sure the water's clean on a daily basis, and then within 3 to 4 weeks, start producing the milk, get it tested, and start selling it. And then we'll start seeing profits as soon as that. And these are, once again, it can sound like some very simple steps, but these are great lessons that I've learned. People do have things to tend to, and so if we can pay and start people working for us until we become profitable, which will be very soon, within the 3 to 4 week mark, that's what's going to help our business become successful. And once it starts making money from the goat's milk that we sell into the markets, we can expand as well. And so how long will it take to become profitable? And we're aiming about 1 month to 6 weeks. The main process is really just to continue making sure the goats are in good health, get them checked up once again, and just a reminder, the local government that we do work with there is very keen on these agricultural products in the area, and so they have helped with the checkup of goats previously, and so we will use their services again. And the main expenses that we will have to become profitable is just paying a staff member or a few staff members. You want to keep in mind that the average wage of the people in the area that we work, it's a really rural area, is less than $5 a day. And so we want to pay more than that, which still won't cost too much for us to be able to help their families out and then become profitable. We want to sell the product to the market around the $3 range and hopefully beat our competitors, which is a lot of imported products, especially powdered milk products from foreign countries, especially New Zealand, which is where I'm from. And so if we do win the money, which I really hope we do, a lot of that money is going to go towards, or not tons of it, will go towards purchasing a pasteurizing machine, which is about $400 to $700 range, and then the rest will be to supplying wages until we become profitable. And once again, that'll only be around $300 to $400 before we aim that we're going to be profitable and be able to just pay our workers out of the salary that it makes. Everything else will go towards scaling the company and having a greater impact in the community. And so help me to understand how I will get my 10th customer, then my 1,000th, and then my 10,000th customer in the area. And so the main thing we're using to our competitive advantage is a locally sourced and fresh product. Now you want to remember that a lot of the products in the Philippines are powdered, and that is what a lot of the children are drinking. And so we're really focusing on that, and also a lot of them are imported. Now we want to be able to provide jobs in the community, and so these families can get and meet their basic daily needs, and for the children to be able to have that in their life as well. And that is the main thing we will use to get customers, is to be a locally based and sourced product that is fresh and nutritious. Of course, a lot of that, getting that good product, comes from having people that take good care of the goats, feed them clean water, make sure they're in good health most of the time. When we get to the stage, of course, we want to use social media. You just want to keep in mind the area that we're working in is very rural. Now the younger generations nowadays do use social media to an extent, but the ones in the families usually making the money, I feel, in the areas, a lot of farmers, a lot of people that work in agriculture and dairy, don't use social media as much as we'd like to. Once we get to the stage, we want to focus on word of mouth and notices by the local government to be able to get us into the market. And then when the time comes, we want to jump onto the social media platforms. Of course we will, for our followers over here, and which we have started with our previous projects as well. And so, do I have any partnerships with organizations that can help me further the desired impact I'm wanting? If so, who are they? If not, what partnerships do I need to make and build my social venture? And so in 2019, I was able to visit the Philippines with my team. Alicia Gurr, who did great with our communication side, and Alvin D, who was our videographer, and he helped a lot with our media. They have really helped on our partnerships in the Philippines. Now they've graduated, so it's a lot of me working on the project, which is fine with our team in the Philippines. But when we were there in 2019, we met with a ton of church members, which we got a lot of their support and wanting to help make people's lives better. We also got them involved in teaching the Self-Reliance program in the church as a requirement for our families that we're receiving. And so we want to have them involved again in this. We also met with the local government of Ormoc City and the Department of Agriculture, and they were super keen to have these kind of agricultural products in the area. When we transitioned to goats, which we're working with now, we even found out they have even more programs to help us succeed in the area. And so these partnerships, I believe, are what we do need to continue to build this to become a social venture and become more of a business as well. And so, of course, I will always be working on the project, and along the way, we've been able to meet lots of other people in the Philippines that are always willing to help out. This pivot is just what we need to be successful. And so the feeds cost nothing for the goats. Maintenance gets watched over by the community and the local mayor and government. And so all we need to do is start selling products. And we've cut costs by a ton, and we're really ready to go now. And so thank you for watching this presentation.